welcome to part 2 of my review for Unit 2 of AP Macroeconomics. Let's get started, brilliant economics students. So a company has an investment project that costs $10 million today, and a yield payoff of $15 million in 4 years. So 10 million today and 15 million after 4 years. They take the project if it's 4% interest rate? Why or why not? What about 11%? All right. So the idea for this question is that they take out a loan of $10 million and they expect $15 million after 4 years. That is the idea. Will they basically make money effectively by creating this and so that they can pay off their loan after 4 years? So let's do both of these scenarios. And so we're going to convert $15 million in future value to present value, and for both of these interest rates. So let's start off with our handy dandy formula. We have future value. Future value is equal to present value times 1 plus rate. 1 plus, I think I just had a stroke there. 1 plus rate to the number of years. That looks like 1. And let's solve for present value. Let's see if it's greater than or less than $10,000 or $10 million. If it is less than $10,000, then we should not take undertake the project because we would not be able to pay off our debts. And if it's greater, then we should. So let us solve for present value. So that's future value. I'll this in green. Future value over 1 plus r to the n is equal to the present value. And all I did was I divided by this term on both sides. And now I've solved for present value. So let us substitute this first equation in. So 15 million in 4 years. So 15 million. 15 million divided by 1 plus 4%. So 0.04. 0.04. And this is to the 4 years. And the calculator tells me that this is $12.8 million. So what this number says is we've converted the $15 million that the company will make and after 4 years to money in the current years of $12.8 million, saying that effectively we will be we will have made a profit doing this. Because if the bank said, hey, you only have a 4% interest rate, this company will make that investment because it costs $10 million today and they will make $12.8 million in today's money. So the bank will do it, or the company will do that. What about for the other interest rate? There's going to be a much higher interest rate here. So let's see if they'll do it here. So here, they will say 15 million years. Oh, that is the eraser tool. 15 million over 1 plus 0.11. I typed it into my calculator wrong. Look, to the 1 plus 0.11 to the 4 years. And so this is 9.8 million. 9.8 million. And so they will not be making a profit on 11% interest rate if the bank said, hey, you for this $10 million, you're gonna pay we're gonna pay you 11% interest rate for that $10 million loan. At the end of the time, they will have lost money on this. So no, they will not make the investment for this one. So yes, for the 10 million, and no for the 11% interest rate. Now find the exact cutoff rate between profitability and non-profitability. So we're going to say the present value is 10 million. At what number of, or what rate are they the same? So I'll do this in white, because why not? So we know that this is going to be 15 million, and we know that we have 1 plus our rate to 4 years is going to be equal to 10 million. We want this to be exactly equal. So we're going to solve for the R. So we're going to probably multiply this rate on the other side, doing some simple algebra. So apply 15 million is equal to 10 million. That's 10 million times 1 plus R to the power of 4. And now we're going to divide both sides by 10 million here. So we have 15 over 10 million. And so the millions and will effectively cancel. And then we could take the fourth root of both sides. Fourth root. But so we divided to get rid of this. We took the fourth root to get rid of this fourth power. And we subtract 1 to get the exact interest rate. So what does the calculator say? The calculator says 10.6667. 10.67%. And we could see that. I think that's a reasonable guess here because we see it's at 9.8. It's pretty close to 10 million when it's 11% interest. So we know it's going to be a bit less than 11. So I think 10.67 is a good, it's a reasonable answer. Next up is a rule of 70 question. It says, according to the rule of 70, if the interest rate is 5%, how long will it take the value of savings to double? And so it may not say the rule of 70, but it says the rule of 70 here. So the rule of 70 states that it will, some money will double at the interest rate. The interest rate is over, so the rate is over 70. And it's not in percent, it's actually at the number. So some people say 72, some people do like 68 or something. So it's not going to be like 14.1 and 14.2 and 13.9. No, no, no. It's going to be something that if you use 68, 70, 72, it's going to be basically the same. And so you're just going to estimate there. But for this one, we're going to use the rule of 70. And I don't even need a calculator to know that 70 over 5 is 14. But if you don't know how I did that, I can say that 70 is 7 times 5 times 2. I just prime factorized that. 7 times 10, which is 5 times 2, over 5. Cancel the 5s, and that is 14. Don't even need a calculator. Alright, if I have all of my retirement form in Apple stock, how can I reduce my risk? Well, you can invest in mutual funds, which are just like funds just across the board with some in tech, some in a couple of maybe some beauty, some fast food, just all over the board. So you could say invest in mutual funds or just invest in other companies. So invest invest in other companies. I cannot write companies, but you can still lose some money there if there's a stock market crash or an economy crash, anything like that. So a couple of risks, just stock market crash. Stock market crash. If the stock market crashes, then you may not you if you still diversify and there's a stock market crash it's entirely across the board, then a lot of your funds will probably not make much profit. All right, this is about unemployment. A couple of questions on those. So the natural rate of unemployment is the employment that kind of persists over the years. It is the structural unemployment plus the frictional unemployment. If the natural rate of unemployment is, it's about 4 to 6% usually, and if we set, so the unemployment rate recently is about like 3 point something percent. That doesn't mean we are, that just means we are below the natural rate of unemployment. That doesn't mean much. And if I said we are in full economic, I'm sorry, full unemployment, not full unemployment, full employment, good Lord. If I said we are in full employment, that means we have no cyclical unemployment because we have our fancy business cycle that's like where we kind of have some recession and some growth, some economic dips and booms, and we have our trend line here. This is also very bumpy, but the picture is there, right? So this is our natural rate, and we have our some bumps and divots and stuff. But the natural rate of unemployment is the structural plus the frictional unemployment. So let's see how this is. That would prevail with zero inflation? No. That is just not true. Highest possible level of GDP? Also no, because that is all other things equal, that doesn't mean we have a natural rate of unemployment. Long run and short run unemployment? Yeah, no. It is the normal amount of unemployment. I think that kind of makes sense from the question. Like, the natural rate, normal amount of unemployment. I think most people could probably get that from the question. Just natural rate, normal amount of unemployment. Okay. 16. Jack is full-time unpaid homemaker, not currently searching for work. Jill is a full-time student who is not looking for a job. Who does the Bureau of Labor Statistics, that's what BLS stands for, the Bureau of Labor Statistics, count in the labor force. Let's see. If if Jack is not searching for work, and Jill is not searching for work. They are both not in the labor force. If you have a job, you're in the labor force. If you're looking for a job, you're in the labor force. If you're not looking for a job, you are not in the labor force. It is simple as that. All right, what is the adult unemployment rate? So, what is the unemployment rate? The unemployment rate, I'll just write UR. I'll do this calculations over to the side here. UR is equal to the unemployed people, the number of unemployed people, number of unemployed over the labor force. Well, we don't have the labor force, so what is the labor force? Labor force is the number of unemployed plus the number of employed plus the number of employed. So let us write that out over here. So I'll write the labor force. The labor force is the unemployed plus the employed. So that's 5 million plus 5 million plus 85 is, oh, that looks terrible. Plus 85 million plus 65 million. That is 160 million people. 160 million people. All right. Now we need to find the adult unemployment rate. So now we have the labor force for the adult population. We need to calculate the number of unemployed. That is 10 million. So 10 million over 160 is the UR, unemployment rate. And 10 divided by 160 is 6.25%. All right. Number 17 asks for the adult labor force participation rate. And so I'm just going to write LFPR, I guess is how LFPR, PR is equal to the total labor force over the total adult population. So let's write population, pop. So we need to calculate the population. So the population. So we have calculated the number of people that are employed and unemployed. So that's just 160 million. And we have to add the people not in the labor force, and that's 45 million and 35 million. So that, let's see, 160 plus 45 plus 35, 240 million people, 240 million. And so now we have the labor force and we have the population. The labor force was 160 million. 160 million over 240 million. 40 million. And so that is about 66.67%. So D. All right, what is the adult male unemployment rate? So we only look at the male dudes for unemployed and employed. So the labor force of males is 5 million plus 85 million, or just 95 or 90 million. And so we have the labor force there. And so the unemployment is just the number of unemployed divided by the labor force. So that's just uh, UR for males is 5 over 90. And then we express that as a percentage. So 5 over 90 is about 0.05, which is about 5%, which corresponds to C. Then I will do this next one in yellow so I can circle that one. What is the adult female labor force participation rate? So that is, we need to calculate the labor force for females. So that is 5 million labor force for females. It's going to be 5 million and 65 million. That is 70 million. And the labor force participation rate is that divided by the total population. So we also need to calculate the population here. So the population is 70 plus 35 million. So that is 105 million, 105 million. And so we just say the labor force is 70 over 105. So let's see, that is 70 divided by 105. That is 2/3. That's what I'm getting. So I will circle 2/3. All right, we have this question that says, suppose there is an excess supply of economics professors. So just a crud ton of people want to teach economics because economics is pretty cool, actually. I did not think I would like it when I started studying it, but it is actually quite fun. I know a lot of people who hate it, but I think it's kind of cool. So a bunch of people, oh, let's not do that. A bunch of people want to be economics professors. There's a bunch of them. Should universities reduce failures? So there's two ways to think about this. What does the standard economic theory suggest? And the efficiency wage theory suggest? Well, the economic theory, the normal economic theory, is that because there's a bunch of people who want to be economics professors, we have a excess supply of them, right? If we have a bunch of, this is our supply curve, right? We have a bunch of people that want to be economics professors. So if we have our market for uh this is our wage and this is our, I guess, quantity of workers. I don't know why that looks like an N, it's a W. We have a bunch of people who want to sell their labor, right? We have it way up here. Then what we do is we lower the wage to, because if we're way up here, there's so many people that want to do it for whatever wage we're at right now, then we could lower the wage so that less people want to, and it will balance that with the number of economics professors we actually need. So, uh, theory to make the quantity supplied and for So doing this, still have they will have the quantity of professors they need, and they will also increase profits because they don't have to pay their workers as much. You know, like normal capitalists, they want to make as much money as they physically can. What about efficiency wages? What even is an efficiency wage? Efficiency wages are that you want to maybe pay your workers a bit more. Because if I am working at a job for $12 an hour and I can just goof off or whatever, and if I get fired, so be it. I can get another $12 an hour job just down the road at another fast food restaurant. And the company does not like having to go train another person. So they say, you know what, to make you not just get up and leave or to go find another $12 an hour job because you don't really care, then we'll pay you $16 an hour. They will pay you more money because they want you to stay. They don't want you to goof off. And this will also incentivize more people to be better, and they can kind of check through and get better workers. So, the efficiency wage theory suggests in this case that they should actually increase salaries so that there is to reduce uh, employee or worker turnover. Worker turnover being basically the workers are like, well, I can just get a job at the next university. That is what this suggests. Okay, most spells of unemployment are short, and most unemployment is at any given time is long term. How can this be? So I'm going to explain this as an example, and I can put this into words. So first, imagine you have a town. This is just a very extreme example. You have a town with four people, right? You have person A, B, C. And so these people have been unemployed for a long time, right? They kind of they're just been unemployed. They're still looking, they just can't find a job. I don't know why. Maybe person D comes along and they get a job in a week. And then the next dude comes along because some dude got fired or whatever. But don't worry, they get a job too. And then we got person F and G and then H. Oh wait, what about person C gets a job at, so now I have I, but person C had a long spout of unemployment. And so and then we start looking, and then maybe person H is struggling. But the idea being that most, that if you look at most of the people that have unemployment here, right? If we did this for an entire year, and this continued for the entire year, there's going to be 52 people that have short unemployment, short spells of unemployment here. There's going to be 52 people. And then there's going to be 3 people with long-term unemployment. So, but if we said, all right, let's look at week 27, and we have, I don't know, we're looking at Greek letters now, so we're at beta, we're at person beta. And person beta, we have person beta who's kind of in a short spell of unemployment, but you have these other people who are in a long spell of unemployment here. And so you can see most of the other people in the town are just living in long-term unemployment. So most unemployment is short, but at any given time, most unemployment is long-term. So time to put that in words. So few people are taken up by uh, so people so most people are unemployed for short periods of time. So person G through beta, short periods of unemployment. But if we count up the total number of weeks, right, we have this guy who was unemployed for 52 weeks. This guy who was unemployed for 52 weeks. This guy, he did solid. He did 42 weeks, but still. So if we add up all of those are relatively long periods of time. And these guys, they're like a week if they show up every single week. And so most of the unemployment amount is for the long-term periods for versus the short-term periods. All right, why is frictional unemployment inevitable? Well, there's always going to be that person fresh out of college just looking for a job. They went to college and they are now looking for a job. They were unemployed for a week. And so there's always going to be some of that. There's going to be that guy who got fired or that guy who just quit his job because his boss was like, he just didn't like his boss or for one of his coworkers or whatever reason. You have a high schooler who just got out of high school and is just looking for a job. Any one of those things causes some frictional unemployment. That is what frictional unemployment is. And so that's always going to be, it's always going to happen. So there's always going to be frictional unemployment. It takes time to find a job. Uh, let's see, maybe two. So if you're a high schooler who's just like looking to do a part-time job or something, it doesn't really matter. But if you're like someone who's going into some fancy medical field, then you probably it'll take time to go through a bunch of interviews at a bunch of like n- uh, at a bunch of hospitals or whatever to work there. So it's going to take a long time for some people. And it's just inevitable because it takes time to find a job. Okay, what can be done to reduce it? Well, you can have some people at the government that kind of help people develop these skills to reduce the amount. So something like this is like like college. It can help most people have more skills to get a job, and so this will reduce so the time of unemployment. And also to just this doesn't really reduce frictional unemployment, but it can ease the pain if you have unemployment benefits like unemployment insurance. If you get fired from your job, then you will go collect some unemployment insurance because that just to kind of ease the financial burden. All right, draw and correctly label a market at equilibrium, a labor market at equilibrium. All right, so we kind of did this already. The Just kind of to demonstrate, but I will do it over here. So we have the quantity of labor, Q sub L. Then we have our wage. And then, so we have our, I'll do our Q star and W star, star, and W star. All right, what happens if wages are brought above equilibrium? All right, this is our new wages. So for whatever reason, new W2, and so this creates this change in the quantity. I should probably label our supply and demand curve. So demand and supply. And so this creates a quantity of labor supplied. There's all of these people who want to supply their labor. And there's only this many people that people want to hire at that wage. So this creates some unemployment if there is, all this in green. So if there's some people that want to work, want to supply their labor, but people don't want to hire them, that creates unemployment. And so 3 reasons. Number one, we just talked about it. Efficiency wages. So we have this company who's like, all right, we're gonna pay you more than the like equilibrium wage so that we can have better workers that don't just goof off and they're going to be better workers making our company more productive. It's okay that we're paying them a bit more because they're going to be more productive. But that means there's going to be people who want to work there, and the company's like, I can't hire that many workers because we increased the wage. So that's going to create some unemployment. Next, we could have minimum wage. If the minimum wage is above if the minimum wage is above equilibrium, it's going to create some unemployment because again, more people, if the minimum wage increase, more people will want to work, and not many people or lesser people will want to hire because the wage increased. So the concept of minimum wage we have, and then third we have unions. We have some people that join together and like, we want more pay, we want more pay, and so that could help get people to have some higher pay. That's pretty cool. But the company's like, well, because you get higher pay, we're not gonna be able to hire these people, or we're gonna have to lay off some of these people. And now these people who want to work have just lost their job. Ladies and gentlemen, that's unemployment. I hope this has helped you. Goodbye.